You're tuned in to Shake, Rattle, and Goal, the official podcast of your Springfield Thunderbirds.
Echo's there on the backhand, scoring the save, rebound in the crease, they score!
Hosted by Matt Baker and Steve Forney. A show that's everything Springfield hockey, with interviews including players, coaches, and staff.
The Springfield Indians repeat as the Calder Cup champions.
Listen to this podcast on all major streaming platforms and wherever you download podcasts.
In his first year at the helm, Kevin McDonald and Drew Bannister have the Teamers in the Calder Cup Finals.
Watch the podcast on the official Shake, Rattle, and Goal YouTube page at SRG Podcast. And now, here are your hosts, Matt Baker and Steve Forney. In this episode number 7 of Season 3 of the SRG Podcast, it's proudly brought to you by our friends at the TDS Center for Communication and Social Learning in Amherst. You can visit them at tdsspeech.com. By our friends at MassCon United Training Center right in Agawam. They are at mcutrainingcenter.com. And the Fan Rants is always brought to you by our friends at Landscaping That Fits. Remember, use the promo code SRG20 on the website. You get 20% off of your fertilization treatments for 2026. Alongside Matt Baker, I am Steve Forney. Matt, how are you, my friend?
So all hockey stuff aside, this has been a rough week for me. I told you guys that my basement flooded last week. My stove had some funky electrical smell going on yesterday while we were cooking dinner. So I shut that down quick because, so we need a new stove. The new range. So, we're doing fine. We're doing fine.
How
about you guys? How are you doing over
Friday,
there?
Here you come. I guess we're good considering. Holy smokes. I don't got any of that stuff going on. So I guess we're fine and dandy.
There you go.
We are recording on Wednesday, so we were able to consume the morning game today against the Wolfpack. We will touch on that. The thing that we have to sort of understand to you, the fan, is that if this is how the season's going to go, it's now Thanksgiving, basically. Yep. If this is how the season's going to go, we're going to have to get creative with our content, because I can't. I'm sure you guys love to hear us. In the world of radio, negative radio is better than positive radio. Just be like, the Patriots are good. Like, that's not like interesting or fun. You got to kind of nitpick a little bit. Got to have some picks to nit. This has been just pardon my language, a hour-long bitch session every single week since we started, which we tried. We tried to do a half episode of positivity after the one home win that we had. Yep. Should have been 2 today with a 2-0 lead going into the third period, and just an absolute unraveling. So keeping that in mind, we're going to be bringing you episodes. We are going weekly. We are going to find ways to be interesting and informative and entertaining for you.
Yeah.
But we're not, I can't, especially me working for the team. It's only a matter of time till I say something that gets me fired. And as I've said, this podcast is not worth my job as the announcer. So remember, folks, I work for the team. So my paychecks have a Springfield Thunderbird in the corner. So I'm not, we're risking that just to come on here and whine and complain about the team. So just keep your eye out for that, because we are going to try to come up with some creative things to get us to March, even if we have to limp all the way there, which it looks like we might have to. I've been trying my best to keep a positive outlook on this team. I've been trying my best to stay in the right mindset, and it is difficult. And so just an example, Saturday night, Thunderbirds played the Penguins. I sat down with my kids. We watched the Mighty Ducks. Because I knew that I was going to get more fundamentally sound hockey watching the 13-year-old Minnesota Cup champion.
District 5.
I knew I was going to get more entertaining hockey there than I was. And then I put on the Thunderbirds game, and again, it was like watching D2. It was like watching the U.S. against Trinidad and Tobago is really what it was like. And we were not the USA in that one. So yes, that is my sort of preface to this episode and to everything else going on, is that we're going to try to find something to bide our time besides just crushing the team every week.
Yeah. Look, I mean, it's I can respect everyone's opinion on how their fandom goes, and but I do I really enjoy the podcast, and I I I kind of feel like you have to be able to comment on what you're seeing, and I can't just be a fan and eh, I'm stumbling because it's like, what can you say, Steve? You're right, and I agree with everything you said, and you can only comment for the sake of a podcast on a team with what you're seeing, and again, I respect people who use their fandom to say, hey, we're only 2 months in. We can turn it around. Hey, we're young. We can turn it around. I'm not trying to mock anybody. I'm not, but like uh, that's not how I am a fan. And maybe I'm also jaded as a New York Giants fan and listening to sports talk radio out of New York all the time, right? But like you have to call a spade, because if you don't identify the problems and you try to like, well, maybe next week, well, maybe this, you're not going to change anything. So you have to, in my opinion, I don't, I'm not trying to speak to anyone, to debate with anyone on this. Like I'm speaking for me, right? I have to call a spade a spade. I have to try to articulate things that I'm seeing, and it doesn't all make sense. I'll be honest. It does not all make sense to me, because you see a period here, a period there, and you're like, oh, that was good hockey. What the heck happened 20 minutes later? Like, what happened? Let's just take today, for instance, this morning. You have the first period against another bad team in Hartford, who has lost 7 in a row. You're up 2-0. You outshoot them, I think 11-3. Correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm
Nope, you
pulling
got it
that
right.
off what I remember. And you play an even back and forth, sloppy kind of second period. And then in the third period, when you have an opportunity to score one more goal or just play defense, you don't. And so what I'm seeing is a lack. It's a bad team right now. It's a bad team. It's not for a lack of talent, because I still believe that there's talent on the team, but they are not. There's a lack of desire to win. And I pulled in the fan rant last week the Shorzy's comment quote, because it's kind of like this team right now. They it's not that they don't love to win. It's that they don't hate to lose. Like, you're just watching, like, guys, just if you played one more shift, you would have won that game. Pekka, I have to pick on Matthew Pekka a little bit here. Him and Kaskamaki in the first period, before it went in a 0-0 game, had a 2-on-0. And Kaskamaki decides not to take a shot. He passes up the shot and passes it to Pekka. And was it the right pass? I don't know. Pekka had a wide open goal. The net was wide open, and he fans on it. He Charlie Conways it, to continue with the Mighty Duck references. And you're just like, why? That shouldn't happen. Matthew Pekka is too good. He is a leader. He wears the C. That stuff shouldn't happen to him. And then you're watching it, that second goal that Hartford scored today, right at the end of the power play. He skates it blue line to blue line. You got Lindstein and Alexandrov are just standing there like, you got him, you got him, you got him. Oh, nobody has him. Oh, Vadim, you stopped the puck. Nope, 5-hole. And it's like, does nobody want to win? So again, nothing that I have seen from this team, nothing tells me it can be turned around. And that's just what I'm seeing right now. In their victories, in their 2 wins this year, I didn't want to say this after they beat Laval, because I'm like, okay, maybe this can turn something around, because Laval's a good team. But I'm watching that game, and I'm thinking Laval did more to lose it than Springfield did to win it. So this year, this team is going to win more games.
Maybe.
They will. They're not, they're not going to end the season with 2 wins. But as of right now, I can only say those wins will come on other teams' bad nights. And normally, I made this comment to you, Steve, after Friday night's debacle in Lehigh Valley when they lose 7-2 or whatever it was. Those games are supposed to be your bad nights. When you give up 6, 5, 6, 7 goals, that's supposed to be your bad night. And that's supposed to happen once or twice a year. We're 2 months into this season, and they've already given up 5+ goals half a dozen times. That's been their normal. Their goals against average is over 4 goals a game as a team. And you're scoring just over 2 goals a game. It's not good hockey, folks. And I'm sorry. I know there are people listening right now that want to believe this team can turn it around. And I hope you're right, but I can't comment and have a podcast and feed people like, oh, this like, I haven't seen it yet. And today is a perfect example. This morning's game where you kind of dominate period 1, period 2 is a wash, and then period 3, when you're still up 2-0, you came out and you looked like you didn't care if you won or lost as the team. You played that way, and the shots on goal reflect it. And it's not just, well, we got 1 point. Well, Hartford got 2. So again, you can't even sit here and start talking about playoffs. That's nonsense in sports. Like, it's too many teams to overcome. And again, you've shown us nothing. Even in the wins, you go back to Hershey, their first win, and you could make the argument that it wasn't a 3-period game either. They did all their scoring in pretty much in the second period, and they held off to a Hershey team who early in the season was still feeling themselves out. And Laval, like I said, you commented they looked like they were skating in sand. They did more to lose that game than Springfield did to win it. And you needed Vadim Zarenko to play on his head. He played great that game. He did. And you won 3-1. So,
even today, 16 shots on goal in the third period. I thought Zarenko played really well.
Yeah, it's not
based on what was happening in front of him, which was a hot mess.
That second goal, like I said, it literally was like, you got him? No, you got him. No, you got him. It's all right. We don't need to take him. Vadim, take him.
And then they score
right to the 5-hole.
And Lindstein's actually, I mean, the body language for a young kid to be looking at, was it Alexandrov? Was the other guy? He's looking at him like, what are you doing?
What are you doing?
And at the same time, I'm like, well, what do you mean? What is he doing? What are you doing? Because I think that the Lindstein Rosen combination was so bad that they had to do something. And what my problem is because now St. Louis, I'm getting calls, texts, emails, tweets, messages from St. Louis people going, what is going on down there? What? Because they see it.
Mm-hmm.
What is happening? And again, they don't, with all due respect, because this is how it always is, they don't care if we're in first place, last place, middle of the pack. They don't care where we stand. They want to make sure that Lindstein, Stenberg, Dvorsky when he's here, Kaskamaki, Zarenko, they just want to make sure that those guys are getting better. And what's bothering me is that they have gotten worse. And when they came over, we knew nothing about them last year. And just Samuel Johannesson, right? I know Stutzel's hurt. Like,
he came back today, though. I mean,
did he really? So full disclosure, I was on a field trip today, and I missed the first period, and I caught the second half of the second, the third, and overtime, which was maybe I should have just not tuned in at all.
It's your fault.
It's sure. I blame my principal. So, like, yeah, you're giving up. They have 60 goals against in 15 games, which is an absurd number. That is the worst. That is the most goals given up in the conference. The only team in the league worse than them is
I think
whoever's at the bottom.
Abbotsford,
Abbotsford. Yeah, Abbotsford's got 68
who
goals against.
ironically didn't they win the Calder Cup last year?
Yes. Yes.
So
they did.
like, you know, this is the life of the AHL, but
right. So I'm wondering why all of these prospects are regressing and why the mistakes that are happening now are the same mistakes that happened at the end of last season. And why is this team stuck firmly planted in the mud? And you're right. I don't the 60-minute effort thing to me is, I've said it on the show before. They haven't had any puck luck in a month
Mhm.
because you earn puck luck
Mhm.
with hard work and effort and fortitude and imposing your will. That's how you get puck luck. And they haven't had puck luck in a month because they haven't done any of those things.
Mhm.
It's like, well, I don't really know what to tell you.
And kind of what I see in this weekend, I try to tell myself like I, a 3-1 loss in against the Penguins, you know, a top team in the conference, you're like, oh, okay, like it doesn't have to be 20, you know, out of 20 games, you got to win 18 to make me happy. Like you guys know this, those of you who listened to before, but the quality of hockey that we're seeing, it hurts as a fan. I'm gonna be honest, to watch it, and it pains me to say that because I know what the team has done for my family and helping us to make memories, and they still do. Like
Of course.
it's not, you know, like and all the good that this organization stands for, the organization deserves better than some of the play on the ice right now. I feel, and you know, you just the confidence in that I have in this team right now is shaken because I don't feel like consistently they're the team right now that when they give up a goal or two, the floodgates open and they quit. And that's why you see games that are 7-2. After when you're only down one goal at one point, right? It's a 3-2 game and then you give up four goals in a row. It's a team that even when you're up 2-0, all it took was for another team to wake up and in one period erase everything that you've built over 40 minutes. And to me, that's something more than just the skill on the ice. And that's sort of where I'm at with this team and why I can't say with any confidence that they'll get there, folks. Don't worry. They have to learn. Like that's what we were saying last year when you saw good hockey just wasn't putting it all together. Another thing that I saw, Steve, interrupt me if you have something you want to chime in here. But
No, you go ahead. You're on a roll.
as a football fan, I was looking at this meme and then I was researching it, and it basically was like the Chicago Bears right now, who are in good shape, right? I'm going to pull it up so I can. The Bears are 2 plays away from being 9-1, but also 4 plays away from being 3-7, right? And the Bears just 2 weeks ago beat the Giants after they're down 10 points in the fourth quarter. Like that's sport. That's how fine of a line a win and a loss can be, a winning season and a losing season can be. And when I go back to last year and I'm thinking about last year and looking at some of the games from last year, I'm like, that was last year. The fine line between a win and a loss, and that team could have been in 3rd place in the division last year or 6th place in the division last year, right? And a fine line in Springfield against Providence, you lose 1-0 in overtime with a few chances right there on the doorstep. You win that series. Who knows where that propels you? Who knows? That's sport. This team is what their record says they are. You know what I mean? Like this team is a 2-win team. 2-10-3, whatever they are.
2-10, 2-1. Yep.
You're 2-10-3. This is a 2-win team. So, I don't know.
I mean, the only thing, that what this team provides off the ice, just going back to what Matt said, it's still awesome. We're still going to get the aprons on the game on Friday, and do bring your canned goods down. I've mentioned it before how, like, there were games, not even this season, but there were games in the past where they heartbreaking loss, or they get absolutely curb stomped, and people are leaving the building smiling like, hey, we had a great time.
Yeah.
Because that still happens there.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not Nate Costa's fault, and don't be yelling at the sales rep that the defense can't stop a nosebleed. It's not their fault. They have nothing to do with it. It's not like the Dropkick Murphys are going to say, you know what? I don't really want to come down anymore in March, right? That's not going to happen. So it's still fun. It's still a good time. Go to the game, support the team. If anything, support the staff. If anything, support Springfield, right? Go to Red Rose, go to Nadim's, support everything that happens in downtown Springfield. It's still a great night out. Bring the kids. My kids still go. They're going Friday night. They don't care who wins. They do, but it's not going to ruin their day.
Yeah.
Right. So you still have all that still in play there, which is, I think, the most important thing about minor league hockey is supporting the team thick and thin. It's okay to support them and also have a fan rant that tears them apart. It's okay to be a fan and still do an hour-long podcast ripping the team in the way that they're playing. It's okay. It's all right. That's natural. That's people. That's, like you said, that's sport. That's being a sports fan. That's what makes being a sports fan great. So, keep that in mind, that it has nothing to do with that. And the people in the front office are still smiling, and they're still happy to see you.
Grinding,
and they're still grinding. They took the whole front office was closed Wednesday so that the whole front office could go down to Hartford to watch the game, which I love that they did that. I think that's so cool. So there are still those kind of elements that makes it a good time. What's hard for me is when I work a game and they play like they're skating in sand, and then the next night I go home and I'm on the couch and I'm watching them play and like they're skating in sand. That's when I'm more likely to find something else to do with my time.
Yeah.
That's why I'm watching the Mighty Ducks with my kids. Like, because what am I really missing? And you know what you mentioned real quick? I'm just trying to go back to some of the things you said.
Yeah.
You said the Penguins only beat them 3-1. I was like kind of shocked by that. I thought for sure they gave up like 15 goals. It felt like they gave up 15 goals. I watched 20 minutes of the game and I'm like, well, this isn't going to go well. Just because of the way they played, I can't believe they only lost 3-1.
Well, Romanov played lights out in that first period.
He did. And for those of you saying that, the one pushback I'm going to give the people is, for those of you saying we need goalies that can stop the puck, I couldn't disagree with you more. I think that you have goalies in that crease working their tail off to bail out the other 5 guys on the ice. And I can sit here and yell and scream at the defense because I think it's been putrid, but it's not just the defense. It's all 5 skaters on the ice in front of the goalies. And in today's case, the 3 skaters in front of them, because even that goal in overtime was trash. Yeah. And I don't blame the goalie. So I thought Zarenko was outstanding today. I thought Romanov was from what I've seen and heard, because I did listen to some of the game on Saturday night. I thought that Romanov was excellent. So there's something going on. There's something happening. It's not something in the water, because everything else in downtown Springfield's working just fine. So there's something going on here that needs to be addressed, and I don't know what it is, and I can't put my finger on it. But there are questions to be asked, and how do we get back to I'm not even talking about going back to winning. Can we put together 60 minutes of hockey?
Play a good hockey game, right?
Can we just watch a good hockey? I just want to watch a good hockey game. That's it. So I do have a quick question for you, some thoughts that might bring out some positive energy. But first, I wanted to mention that our friends at the TDS Center for Communication and Social Learning are right there in Amherst. They have a unique location right in the center of Amherst, Massachusetts. They allow for clients and groups to enjoy the social constructs of city life. The founder, Teresa Smith Dooley, is a leader within the speech and language community, continuing to find innovative ways to fit and meet the needs of all individuals that they help and serve. For more information, you can visit tdsspeech.com. That's tdsspeech.com. You can email them at info@tdsspeech.com. You can call them at 413-835-0737. as well. So big thank you to them, and by our friends at MassCon United Training Center in Agawam. From beginners to pro, MCU Training Center is a one-stop shop to improve your game with top local trainers and their knowledge, skills, and training to develop programs that will make you a better player no matter your skill level. Their small player to coach ratio clinics allow them to focus on each individual's athlete's needs. They're right there on Springfield Street in Agawam, right over the bridge from the Big E, and just minutes off of 91 as well, serving athletes of Western Mass and Northern Connecticut. You can give them a call at 413-301-6040. It's 301-6040 for training session availability, birthday parties, all kinds of fun stuff. Check them out. Their website's mcutrainingcenter.com. Our fan rants, we'll mention this now, is brought to you by our friends at Landscaping That Fits. They do the fan rant, but really, they're friends of the show, of course. Keeping Western Mass lawns green, healthy, and looking their best right now. Now is the time to do it. Now is the time to think about March and get yourself ready for post-snowpocalypse. So you can save 20% on your 2026 fertilizing program when you sign up before December 31st. Now, I talked to Rob, and he was like, if he had one more winterizer treatment to put on, and he said, pick up your leaves because I got to do it before December 1st. Because December 1st, I'm done, shutting it down, getting ready for 2026. So he's already getting ready for 2026. And he did. He came and put down the winterizer. My lawn looks, I can't even tell you, folks, it looks immaculate. And it has very little to do with me and my lawn mowing skills. I guarantee you that. It looks phenomenal. Everything that he's done. Again, I don't do this. I'm a paying customer. Okay. 20% off your application all season long. 6 fertilizer treatments. You can call Rob at 847-0338 and say, hey, I heard about it on SRG and I'm looking for that 20% off. You can do that. Or you can go to landscapingthatfits.com, click get a quote. That's at the top of the page there. And put in the code SRG20 to lock in your savings. Give your lawn the fits it deserves at landscapingthatfits.com. So thank you to Rob. Thank you to TDS Center. Thank you for MassCon United Training Center. We appreciate you guys supporting us. Again, local businesses helping what we are, which I guess is technically a local business, more like just two goofballs talking into microphones. So
local knuckleheads.
Yeah, right.
Local businesses supporting 2 local knuckleheads.
Right. We're pulling the wool over their eyes for sure. No. Quick question. I don't know how many fan rants we want to get to because, again, they are all kind of saying the same thing that we're saying, which is right. That's sort of where we're at right now. Thoughts on Logan Mailloux so far?
Oh, you know what? So I think he's great. He has been a bright spot. I think his play. I think he is one of the few Thunderbirds right now that I can say is maybe playing with a little bit of swagger. I still love watching Hugh McGing out there. I kind of feel bad for him because I still think you can tell he's skating hard. But Logan Mailloux, I think he's looked great since he's been out there. Same note, Hunter Skinner, congratulations. He had his rookie lap and his NHL debut with the Blues, ended +1, I believe.
It was +1 in 10 minutes, something like that.
Yeah. A handful of shifts.
They played tonight in Toronto. I saw it, but I don't know if he's playing tonight. I don't know.
He's not in the projected lineup tonight, okay. But still up there and good for him, so, but I think Logan Mailloux has looked fine. I think he's skating with speed. I like how he right now is one of the few defensemen that, and Marc-Andre Gaudette, I think he's playing really well as well. But Logan is with confidence, taking the puck from the blue line, making some moves, bringing it down, playing offensive. He scored the power play goal today, this morning. So I think he's playing fine. How about you?
I first of all, he's listed at 6'3". He looks like he's like 6'6" out there. There's just he's 6'3", 212 or something like that. He just looks like the biggest guy on the ice. And I think part of the reason why he looks the way he does is because I think most of the time when he's out there, he is the best player on the ice. Like he just has the most skill, the most NHL experience. Like he looks like an NHL player playing in the minor leagues. So at least he's embracing that and putting up points and contributing, which I think is important for his development. And if he wants to get back into St. Louis, this is exactly the route that he has to take, regardless of what's happening around him.
Agree.
I don't think it's up to him being 24-ish, whatever it is, years old, to be down here. Would it be nice to have him as a leadership person? And I'm not saying he's not, but you shouldn't be looking at Logan Mailloux to be like, lead me, please. That's not his job. So his job is to down here, make people around him better, sure, but his job is to play well enough to get himself back to St. Louis. I think, like you said, I think he's done an exceptional job. Today, we talk about no puck luck. Today they were 5-on-3 at one point, and Mayhew's stick broke. So it was basically 5-on-2.5.
Yeah.
And again, the goalie, Zarenko was absolutely exceptional, keeping the puck out of the net. But just sort of watching him and the two forwards in that situation, or the defenseman and the forward in that situation, try to stay alive, was impressive to watch. I mean, of course, they got just a boatload of shots on Zarenko, but there was no panic. He was calm. He was confident, composed. And he made it was very interesting. They're playing the triangle. As soon as his stick broke, he went up top to where the forward normally is in that triangle, just because if you're down low and you don't have a stick, why even bother being down there? So having his 6'4" frame sort of covering the top area of the slot and in the zone, to me I'm sure that's how they designed it, but that was really well done. So yeah, I've been impressed with him so far. I think, I mean, it's not saying a ton, but he's been the best defenseman on the ice since he's been out there. So I'm happy to have him as long as we can. But the end goal is, of course, always the same: to get him back to St. Louis, playing meaningful minutes. I fear that there's a lot of, I've heard rumblings that there's regret from the St. Louis Blues fans, not the team, the fans of the Bolduc for Mailloux trade. And of course, that's easy to look at on paper based on where those two players are currently, right? That's low hanging fruit. But I think that he will eventually get there. St. Louis, ironically, is a lot like Springfield. They're just too talented to be where they're at in the standings. And I think Jim Montgomery is pulling some strings up there, benching Kyrou, doing some other things that have sort of jump started the team a little bit. And, that to me is a big part of it too. I look at them, I look at us, I look at other teams like Boston, and I don't know how to fix here. Boston benched Mason Lowry for like 6 games, and he's been nothing but a point producer since he got back in the lineup. They just waived Johnny Beecher, who got claimed by Calgary and did not end up in Providence, thank God, because that guy would terrorize us. So, they're looking at it and saying, this isn't right. We need a change. We need to fix. And they're making some changes. For me, even this team, I've seen nothing change.
Yeah.
I just haven't seen anything change.
Well, I'm going to expand on that, but to go back to Logan Mailloux real quick, I think you're right. It's easy as a fan, you attach yourself to that low hanging fruit, and you see Zach Bolduc as being successful and Logan Mailloux is not, and the team is not, which is making the fans more upset. And when you are watching Logan play, you see all the skills and talent that attracts him to an NHL team 100%. You see it. It's there. I'm wondering, because he was acquired in a trade for Zach Bolduc, who the fans liked, the plan was for him to continue to develop and these spot starts here and there. Meanwhile, he's got to hear all of this nonsense because the team isn't winning. It's not Logan's fault the team isn't winning.
Right.
He wasn't playing great, right? But this is how you develop. So I'm wondering if sort of that's just why he was sent down, to sort of, listen, continue to develop, stay away from the noise of the fans. Now you're going to be out of sight, out of mind. You're not going to be so much connected to Zach Bolduc anymore for the time being. If the team is winning, nobody's going to complain about this trade.
Right.
If the team is winning, nobody cares. Because I mean, as a fan, what do I care? If the team is winning, good. It's not so much about the individual. But when the team isn't playing, and the team you traded, or the player you traded away, is successful, and the player you traded for is still developing, you're like, well, what the hell? So I sort of think that's why he was kind of brought down. Continue to develop away from the noise. Let Hunter Skinner, who has no connection to Zach Bolduc in a trade kind of thing, let him get his spot starts, and good for Hunter. Happy for him. And St. Louis turns it around. They turn it around. We'll bring you back up, kind of thing. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, I mean, when we look on the value chart, and of course, no offense to Hunter, but on the value chart of their prospects, Mayu is sitting a heck of a lot higher than Hunter Skinner is.
Yeah.
So this comes back to the old argument: are you better off as a young player being in the minors, playing big time minutes, power play, shorthanded, special teams, top line minutes, top D pair minutes, or are you better off with the big club practicing with NHLers, but only playing every other game 10 minutes a night?
Yeah.
And I've always been on the go to the minors and dominate.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that was a little bit of it too, where they say, look, we're going to send you down, but we want you just dominating. We want you playing 25 minutes a night, scoring power play goals, killing penalties, killing 5-on-3s.
Yep.
And running the show. And there's 5 guys on the ice. And guess what? You're sort of in charge of them all.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's sort of what I've seen from him. But anyway, sorry, as you were saying.
No, and then just to expand on changes, right? And I kind of do feel like, and I obviously am not watching the Blues as closely as I watch the Thunderbirds. I'm paying attention. I'm reading about them. I'm reading game recaps of the Blues. I do think this is a fan base too that, especially after their late season run last year, had very high expectations. Expectations do a lot to a fan's psyche. If your expectations are low and the team meets those low expectations, you're like, this is all good. When you have high expectations and a team is underwhelming, it's awful. And I think that's what you're seeing in St. Louis now. I wouldn't be surprised if, unless this team turns it around quick and like yesterday, by the time you listen to this podcast, they're playing Tuesday night, right? The Blues. So I think the Blues kind of need to turn it around quickly, or you are going to see some changes in the big club that will trickle down to Springfield. Other than, and maybe we'll get into this with a few fan rants, other than a coaching change here in Springfield, I'm not really sure any player changes you're even in control of. You have Luff and Pekka on your AHL deal. You can kind of control them. Sam Bitten was on an AHL deal. You traded him away. Lucic is on a PTO, so I don't even know how that works. Everybody else is a two-way deal, kind of controlled by Springfield. I mean, I'm sorry, by St. Louis. So I wouldn't be surprised to see St. Louis trading a Binnington, trading some of their aging. Pick one. There's quite a
lot
few
of talk about Braden Shen.
Yeah, and or even a Nikita Alexandrov at this level. Like I don't know. He's kind of like the aging prospect that a team might want who's making a playoff push.
I think he's like the classic player if he got dealt, it would be a player for player, like underwhelming player for underwhelming player, because both guys needed a quote unquote change of scenery.
Sure.
They love using that. Oh, he needed a change of scenery. Okay. Oh,
yeah.
Right. So
needed
that's
a fresh start. Needed a new
right.
Yeah. So I don't really see the Blues trading away a Dylan Peterson or Kaskamaki or Stützle or Susiev, Pekarchik, name all these Stenberg. I don't see those guys being traded because I really do think the Blues do see them as legit. Leo Loof is another one, right? But Buchinger, Lindstein. I don't see these guys being traded because the Blues see them as legitimate. You are projected development NHL guys. So I don't know why you would really trade them away unless you feel like you're getting a steal. But I think Nikita could be on the in a move. Other than that, I don't really see too much happening here in Springfield, other than a coaching change. But I don't have any information that is imminent.
I don't either, and based on my role with the team, I don't know where the line is, so I'm not going to comment on it.
No, that's totally fair. I will say, and let's get into some fan rants.
Sure.
Brought to you by our friends at Landscaping That Fitz. And really to talk about this, and I can talk about this, Steve, if you totally want. If you want to go take a quick water break real quick too, that's fine too.
No.
But a friend of the podcast
You can be diplomatic.
and contributor Matt Danol, basically, and then I'm going to paraphrase some of these fan rants because they're all kind of saying the same thing. But what do we think of a return of a Drew Bannister or the 3-time Kelly Cup champion from the ECHL, Brad Ralph, who I believe is technically like in the system. And that actually, like, I hadn't really thought too much of a Drew Bannister, but I'm watching this team, and somebody else commented on this, is like, it's just sort of like an old school system, like it there, and there's not a lot of change. And look, I'm commenting on what I'm seeing, and I'm seeing I've watched a team play the same team, Springfield, play Bridgeport 3 games in a row, and one team got better each game against us. We looked worse each game playing against the same team. You make your judgment, right? But I'm going to say, for me, in my experience in all sport, that's coaching adjustments. That's coaching adjustments. If you're playing the same team, that's a common team you play against often. If you are progressively getting worse, that's a problem. We're seeing this team start slow time and time again. Today, they start better and get progressively worse as the game goes on. I'm watching this team, and part of the struggles maybe as to why they can't clear the defensive zone is because the other teams know exactly how they're doing it every time. Exactly.
Going back to like February.
The same, right?
It's been the same since February.
So if you're prepared for how this team, the Springfield Thunderbirds, are looking to clear their D zone, you pinch it. And that's what we're seeing. We're seeing opponents forecheck and having their defense pinch in, and you're not at all worried about something else happening because nothing else ever happens. And that's just sort of what's happening with this team. So and I just remember comments that other players have said. I've never heard or read about a player taking a shot at Steve Konowalchuk, so I don't mean it as a negative to him, but I will say I have heard multiple players, when we did talk to them for this show, talk about how prepared they were when Drew Bannister was coach. So, you know, and sometimes it is just, it's not an X's and O's thing. It's more of a motivational thing as well. As a coach, these kids, and I say kids, right? These young men and older men, Milan Lucic, have played more hockey than 99% of the world's population. They know how to play the game. They don't need the X's and O's thing, but maybe they do need a little bit of motivation. And maybe that just means it needs to be a new voice. As a parent, as a dad, if I'm getting into a power struggle with my kids, I know my wife has to step in, vice versa. As a teacher, same thing. When I get a call for a student who's having a behavior or having an issue or struggling with something, I can come in, and just because I'm a new voice, we can get that change. So maybe that is something to, I'm never one to call for somebody else's job or their livelihood, but going back to changes in Springfield, that's the only thing I can see Springfield sort of in charge of that can happen in Springfield, would be just a coaching change. And maybe it just needs to be a new voice, a new system, a new methodology, a new motivational tactic, because what's working isn't working.
Well, it's funny because it's like how a lot of your parents out there listening, and how many times like you tell your kid the same thing 5 times and they don't do it, and then they go to practice and their coach tells them it, and they're like, oh, or they go to school and their teacher tells them it, and they're like, oh, okay, yeah, sure. And then it's like, oh, I've been saying this. Why aren't you listening? Right? How many times has that happened as a parent? I don't know much about the Ralph coach. What was his first name? Gary?
Brad Ralph.
Brad Ralph. Okay.
Yep.
I don't know much about him. I would say that if you had a player in the ECHL that won 3 Kelly Cups, he'd be on an AHL roster, right? So I'm assuming coaches work the same way. Like if you're good, or if you're a good AHL coach, unless you're Ryan Mougenel, who just the Bruins just refused to promote, you're going to get the call up. We've seen this happen with Hershey in Washington, right? We've seen this happen.
Edmonton. Look at Edmonton taking the Wolfpack coach, right? Yeah.
Yep. So we've seen it happen on that end. I don't think Drew Bannister coming back would happen. And the reason is strictly specifically optics.
Yep.
Because
it's fair.
He got the call up and got fired, and bringing him back is like, I don't know, like getting back with a girl that you were engaged to, and then you called off the wedding and now you want to date her again. Like, I can't find a good analogy, but it's that sort of thing where, I think the fan base in St. Louis would be like, wait, that guy that came up here, and because I don't think when I talked to St. Louis fans, they were not much too pleased with Drew Bannister. Obviously, we have a much different feeling because I thought he was great, right? Mm-hmm. So, I don't think it would happen strictly for the optics. I think, look, there are certain teams, and I get like really annoyed being a Boston sports fan because I think people, not to go too sideways, but like 20 years, these Boston teams had a successful run. Now you look at the Red Sox. Well, they have Alex Cora as their manager. Jason Varitek is on staff. Craig Breslow is their GM. You look at the Bruins. Go to a Bruins game. Adam McQuaid is on staff. Cam Neely's the president. Don Sweeney is there. Chris Kelly's an assistant coach. PJ Axelson is scouting in Sweden. You look at the Patriots. Gerard Mayo, going back to Josh McDaniels, going back to Mike Vrabel. It's like, you had all the success, and then you just feel the need to just take all these guys that played for you, and now you just want to shove them back in the organization. The Celtics, don't even get me started on Danny Ainge and Sam Cassell's on the bench. And it's like, there are other teams with successful people in their organization doing successful things. Like, it's not just here. I know we won, but that there's other guys with good ideas throughout the league. Mm-hmm. So I love Drew Bannister back here. I don't see that happening because of the optics of it. And personally and honestly, I think that they're better off getting somebody that is just fresh, just a fresh voice, and something that maybe somebody like Montgomery has insight on this and says, I know the guy in Saskatoon, the San Antonio Rampage, if they're even a team anymore. Like, maybe he's got a guy that says, this guy knows my system. He's a good motivator. Let's give it a try and see it that way. But I like the idea of the Ralph guy. I will tell you that the Bannister thing's never going to happen.
Yeah. No, fair points. I would just say, and again, this is just, for me, just banter. We're talking about a fan rant. I am not
advocating,
holding signs. I'm not bringing signs to the Thunderdome, hire somebody else, fire this person, right? But I would say, if there is any sort of change, I'm not a fan of the interim role. I just don't like that. I think it's a lame duck. It's you're either all in with this person or you're not. So I always feel like the interim role never really works. And I do agree with you. I think a change can only happen if you know who you're bringing in. If you interim, you're a Modry, who I have a lot of respect for. I think he's a great coach, but it's the same guy in there now. And look what happened with Coach Kachuk when Bannister went up. You give him an interim role, and I don't know. I always feel like it takes away the ability to head coach, and you'd have to bring somebody in fresh, new eyes, new voice, and they have to, in my opinion, would have to be the head coach. When St. Louis fired Drew Bannister, they hired Montgomery. He wasn't he didn't have an interim tag. He was the head coach. And I just feel like if any coaching changes happen, I would want it to go that route. where
And again, just one other thing on this, and this is why I'm not the biggest fan of in-season coaching changes, because if it's a motivation thing, that's the head coach. If you don't like the way they're playing defense, that's probably not the head coach. That's probably the assistant coach. If you don't like the way that special teams is going, well, that's probably not the head coach or the defensive coach. That's whoever's in charge of power play. If the goalies stink, now you're talking about the goalie coach. So either you have to blow them all out, and let the new guy come in and bring in his own staff, which is really hard to do in the middle of a season.
Yeah.
Or you have a guy in one of those really awkward situations where it's like, hey guys, I'm your boss now, do as I say. And that is, I just imagine, as somebody who's never been on a coaching staff, I imagine that's kind of weird and awkward.
Yeah.
So, there's that element of it too.
Yeah. But I do want to, if let's talk about some positives, right? Their special teams right now is
it's good.
Awful. I mean, awful, not awful. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Their power play is playing really well. It looks good. Logan Mayu had that goal this morning, and they're moving the puck around, which is what I've always been saying. They're getting it low, moving it left, moving it right, getting it up top, point to point, so that you're making the goalie change his vision, change his eyesight. You're changing his pad levels, which is all a good thing. And their penalty kill has been awesome as well. And you talked about the 5-on-3 that was a 5-on-2 that they killed. Yeah. Goalie played great. And so their special teams right now is playing great. It's their 5-on-5 hockey that's been the biggest problem.
It's true. They haven't given up I mean, 3 games they haven't given up. I haven't gone back further, but at least the last 3 games, today included, they haven't given up a shorty, and they had plenty of opportunity. Even the overtime winner, there were 2 guys in the box. It was 3-on-3. So it's not like it was, and they had to kill the penalty in overtime. So, the special teams definitely, like you mentioned, a bright spot.
Yeah.
As one, if you need it. I've just opened up the page and saw Colton Ellis. That kid's crushing it. Congratulations, Colton Ellis.
Yeah, I think he had another win. He did have a tough outing. I think his second outing coming back. I think he had a little injury coming back. He had a rough outing, but he rebounded. Real quick, not really. Trini, you mentioned a question in the fan rant, and I just want to address it about kicking players out of the face-off circle. What's that about? That's kind of like how I think about it. It's almost like the NHL equivalent of a false start. So how it's supposed to work is like, if you as the centerman or playing center, right? And if you have to kind of put the stick in the dot, and then if you false move, or the ref deems you to trying to quote unquote like trick your opponent, where like you're faking going down or you're faking touching the dot, because once both sticks touch the dot, that puck's supposed to be dropped. So if you kind of false start, or if you kind of flinch a little bit to trick your opponent, that's what the ref is kicking you out of that face-off circle for.
Good stuff. And yeah, absolutely. That's the I still think there's too much of that though. Just drop the puck and let's play hockey.
I'm with you.
It was a focus, whatever, like 5 years ago, and we're still feeling the effects of linesmen kicking guys out. And it's like, dude, I think that's kind of like in sports where the referees are like, hey, everybody look at me.
yeah. That's their moment where everyone's staring at them, watching them.
Right. Just drop the puck. Steven Badura, this was pretty good. The positives, the goalies have been solid. Our power play is starting to click, as you mentioned. Young kids are getting more experience. They make mistakes, but that's expected. He said the defense needs to clear out teams in front of our net and stop opposing teams from sneaking behind them, leaving our goalies to face constant breakaways. Steven, the amount of goals that I've seen to where a defenseman is in front of the net staring at the puck while somebody else just blows right behind them and goes right in front of the net. Basics, man. Basics. Like you said, you guys have been playing hockey for how long have you been a defenseman? Like, you have to know where your guy is. No matter the sport, you can't play soccer and not mark your guy, right? Like, you got to know where your guy is. And there's been so much of that, especially even today, the Hartford goals. It was like, I mean, you mentioned it a little bit earlier. It's like, I don't care who takes them. Somebody take them. Both of you take them. How about both of you take them instead of nobody, right?
It was a 1-on-2. So it's, yeah, I'm with you. Instead, you're both watching.
So, again, fundamentals. I think if I'm the coaching, I'm talk about Gordon Bombay. Back to basics, skating, right? Back to basics, back to fundamentals, and back to having fun, because this team doesn't look like they're having any fun.
Yeah.
So I don't know. You interested in doing any more rants? I mean, they're all good.
They're all
They're all
folks are all the
good,
same. And listen, we
appreciate you
feel you,
guys.
we hear you. I appreciate. I know there are some of you out there, listeners, who you're hanging on, and please do. And when
Support
we're at
the
the
team.
Thunderdome, we will be cheering. We have a few more games coming up within the next month that will be in the Thunderdome. My family.
You going Friday?
No, so that is actually my school's. My students are the ones singing the national anthem or God Bless America that night, but both my kids have a friend birthday sleepover that night. So he's actually another student at Granger. So I had tickets and then I had to transfer them because they're going to go to the sleepover party. So I'm not going to be there Friday night.
Gotcha.
I'll be watching. I haven't told Jill yet, but she wanted to have a date night, but I think I'm going to watch.
Date night at MGM Springfield. Support.
There you go. But we have a few games. So listen, when you're at the Thunderdome, cheer, like have fun. For me personally, I just have changed my expectations. I was wrong at the beginning of the year. I'm changing my expectations. I'm going to go. I'm going to have a good time when we do go. We still watch games on the couch, eating our popcorn. We still support the team. We still cheer for them when they score and get upset when they give up a goal. That's never going to change, So I don't want to make it sound like I'm telling other fans how they need to be a fan. You do what's good for you. For me, and again, as a Giants fan, I have no expectations. That's how I get through Sunday. If they score a touchdown, I'm like, I didn't expect that to happen, and that's how I get through Sunday. So it's
the last couple of years for the Patriots. For me, it was Legos. The only way I could watch a game is if another interception. Here's a happy little tree.
Yeah,
that's like the only way I could get
do
through
something else to distract your mind. I will say it's hard, Steve. Like doing the podcast, there are times Friday night where I wanted to walk away, and I'm like, I have to watch because I have to. How else can I comment on things? I did. Good job, Kessie, taking on Imama.
Mama, that was a good battle.
That was a good battle. And he talk about your heavyweights going at it. So nice job, Kessie, Saturday night, trying to rally the troops. Imama, right, a few minutes after he gets out of the box, he scores the second goal, and I'm like, well, there you go. And that's the thing too. It's just like, but what are you gonna do?
So the good news is, if there is any, the team that you're playing Friday night is just as bad, if not worse than you. Utica has 2 wins and also has 7 points. The big difference is where I find it, I think it'll be won and lost. Thunderbirds goals for 33, goals against 60.
Yeah,
big numbers. Utica's goals against 23, which is 10 less than ours. Goals for, goals against is 43. So they have scored 10 less goals, but have given up 17 less. So there's a lot less scoring within that team. So again, it's the Mayflower Marathon kickoff food drive. So bring your canned goods down to this. Again, it's all going to the Rock 102 Mayflower Marathon. You can get your Boomer Chef aprons. Those are presented by Buffalo Wild Wings. And it's an MGM Springfield Deuces Wild Friday with a pregame concert by Joe Zebian. So if you're dejected and distraught, just know that there's a pretty good chance that, you might be able to get off the schneid on Friday night against Utica.
There you go. And I saw a picture of the those aprons for the Mayflower, the giveaway aprons. Look sharp. They look good. And I'm kind of like, they would go great with my oven mitt that I got last year. It would be great. But that's it, Steve. Those are great numbers. That kind of puts it into perspective, at least for me, the frustration. We're not losing 2-1, 3-2. You're losing 7-1. It's like, come on, guys.
Or you're losing 6-4. And it's like, if you score 4 goals, you should win.
You should win. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So,
but hopefully we'll get there.
Yeah. One more game this week, which is the Friday night game. And then they turn around next week with a game against Hartford, 2 games against Bridgeport, looking more into the thing. So again, if you can turn it around on Friday night, who knows? Who knows what can happen over the next 4 games?
I don't know if you noticed, just real quick, the Friday night game at Bridgeport is at 3 p.m. Is that right?
Yeah. I'm actually looking at it now too on the website. That's a 3:00 Friday afternoon game. That is a weird one.
I'll be pre-gaming. It's fine. And then 6 o'clock on Saturday. So if you're watching on Flow Hockey, Wednesday against Hartford 7, Fridays at 3, Saturdays at 6. So hey, maybe that's a part of it too. They played a 10:30 a.m. game last week. They played an 11 a.m. game this week. 6 o'clock start times, 7 o'clock start times, 3 o'clock on a Friday. They've kind of been all over the map. So again, I'm not making excuses, but it is a part of the whole. It's part of what's going on here.
Part of the debacle.
Yes.
So, hey, we appreciate our sponsors, TDS Center for Communication and Social Learning, MCU Training Center. My wife and I were actually hosting some soccer training, starting in weekly training sessions there, starting in January. So just a great place if you're coaches, you bring your team there, birthday parties, everything is wonderful. And our friends at Landscaping That Fits.
SRG20 is the promo code.
Use SRG20 and get your lawn looking as nice as Steve's.
It's a beauty.
It's fun. And the kids that our families that we play with, they like to kind of pick at it. And you're like, come on, man.
Dude, I've never been
my fairway here. Let's go.
I've never been a lawn snob until like this summer. Now I'm like,
until it looks
I'm good with the scissors.
Yeah. Fans, we appreciate you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for putting up with us. And we hope to bring you a little bit of entertainment. Be on the lookout. Pay attention to socials because we do have some things in the works because, again, we can't do this every week for an hour. We want to entertain you. We want to bring some stuff. And we have some things to celebrate the 10 years of our Springfield Thunderbirds as well. So be on the lookout for some fun, entertaining new segments. Keep listening, keep liking, keep subscribing, share with friends. And hey, T-Birds, let's go, T-Birds.